So first off, you should have received Titebond wood glue. This will help keep everything together. 2 screws for attaching onto a fence, pole, tree, really whatever works for you. And then these 2 little tabs that are also have been taped on. So I'm removing those. And then I want to work from the bottom up. So first we have the roof. So this roof has a 15-degree angle right here. It's pretty obvious which one that is. And then this is your back. It has the keyhole slot for the first screw, and then down here is another spot for the bottom screw to lock it in place. And then you have your 2 sides. They're easy to note because one has graphics and text, and the other one has a illustration that we did. And then you have your middle insert and your bottom piece. Lastly, in this section, you have your middle insert for the inside of your box, and then the coinciding piece, the actual front of your box. This one's easy to note because it is wider than the middle piece, and then it is also charred on the outside. We want to make sure that this is in the front because the char actually helps the native bees distinguish which hole is theirs. It's kind of like having numbers on an apartment complex. So now that we know everything that's in our box, let's start to assemble it. The first things I want to start with is my 2 sides and then the bottom piece. It doesn't matter which side you start with. Just make sure that you always keep the graphics on the outside and the plain side goes on the inside. And then we're going to use Titebond wood glue. Really, just remember with wood glue or with any glue, pretty much a dab will do you, or in this case, a couple dabs will do you. So we just want to put that on this inside seam right here. Just little bits. I also like to put a piece right inside of there. And then we're just going to slide those together. The less glue that you use, while still using a good amount of glue, the less cleanup you have to do. But that's also why I put this piece of brown paper down. So let's do the other side as well. I'm only doing one side of each box. I am not trying to double up on glue. Again, just a little bit of dab. This will just keep everything together. We designed it this way so it was really easy to put together, and you wouldn't really need any tools at home to be able to make it, so anyone could make one of these. Once this is together, you'll see there is a slight wobble. Again, we're just making sure there was enough tolerance to make this really easy. I'm gonna grab this middle insert piece that is going in that middle notch that you see on your bottom piece. And that is just gonna slide down right in there. And that's gonna make sure that we are nice and square on either side. That you can choose to glue that in if you want. I typically don't, but again, it's just another chance to lock things in. One thing to note about wood glue is that it does take 5 minutes to set and 45 minutes to cure. So right after this last step of adding this piece, we're going to just let, and one more step, we're going to just let this set for 30 to 45 minutes so that we don't mess up the glue. So again, now that we're adding this next piece, I'm just adding a little bit more glue. I'm gonna do that to this side over here. And then this is our middle insert piece, and we just want to slide this in. Like so. So that should be a lot more together now as we're starting to put the pieces in. And then the last step before we just let this sit is there's a little T-shaped tab. It looks like this. That goes into the top hole that's in this middle insert. It gets a little bit of glue and just make sure that that middle piece doesn't move. once the glue is set. So again, just a little bit of glue all the way around. And then I am just dropping that in there, cleaning up any excess glue. Again, not too much worry. And we're just gonna let that sit and come back in about, like I said, minimum of 30 minutes, but and maximum of 45. And we're back. So after we waited for that amount of time, now it's time to actually put on the back. So the top of the back has this keyhole slot. These two slots fit and lock in with these two pop outs, just like that. But let's put some glue on here. One of the things, if you didn't love that waiting time, a trick of the trade is to add just a couple dabs of super glue. So if you have that around, use it. If you don't, it's just a matter about waiting that 30 to 45 minutes. So with this, I'm gonna put the box down here. I'm going to add just a little line of glue on either side here, and then little dabs of glue here and here and on the bottom here. It'll look like that. So not that much glue, just enough. And for the sake, might as well say, hey, just a couple little dabs. Again, I'm just putting a little dot. And what this does is, since the super glue sets in about 30 seconds, that's gonna work as that will keep everything locked in place in the short term. And then the wood glue is there for the long term. So super glue is not a replacement for wood glue, as it is not able to withstand the rigors of the seasons. So then I am just going to set that on there. And then I would recommend flipping it around and putting it just like that. Lastly, we're gonna put on the roof and then let it be. So, a couple little dabs in here. Make sure that doesn't leak over there. Okay. Make sure the roof is facing the right way with this angle facing up. And then just sliding that into place as so. Clean up any excess glue that might have happened. And then again, you're just sitting and letting it stand. The last thing that you would do is this piece can slide in here. That doesn't need any glue at all, nor should it have some glue. Well, you won't really need to remove this and take it out year after year. It is nice just to have the capabilities in case for some reason it gets dirty or something like that. And then this little L-shaped piece would just fit and lock in there so that again, that stays in place. And that's it. The last thing that we'll do is insert tubes inside of there, and then you'd be ready to set it up. So now that your box is glued up and set, it's time to put the tubes in before we install it on the log, fence, rail, tree, whatever you have for your backyard or garden area. So there's 3 different size holes, 4 different types of bees. So there's 500 unique species of bees to Ohio, 4,000 unique species of bees to the United States. So there's lots of different sizes and shapes of our bees, and that's what the different holes are for. There's also the different tubes that you should have received to fit those holes. So there's an 8mm tube, a 6mm tube, and a 4mm tube. And we're just gonna start placing these in here. You wanna make sure as you put it in, they get pushed all the way to the back. The box is designed exactly for the size of these tubes. So it should be easy just to push, and then once you get there, you know it's in the back. And we're just gonna continue to go. Obviously, we would continue to add all of these tubes and all of the holes, but I am just gonna do one row so that we can kind of see it for video purpose. Two more for the 4mm. And you're all set. As soon as you hang this on your, wherever you're having at your house, then you just let them be. Now, the last thing I do want to note is this little section inside of here. That is where I would put the tubes the following year. So once you remove them all, and there'll be more videos we can talk about that, then this is a great place to set the moss for the bees to emerge in the spring of the following year. So that's another how-to video, but that's what this section is for if you were curious. That's what these do. There's really only 2 to 3 true maintenance days that you should need a year on this native bee box. But these tubes are something that are purposely disposable. So thank you guys. Excited to have you guys start your native bee box. And obviously we are always able to be reached in terms of questions, thoughts, comments, concerns that you have throughout this process. So thank you and have a great rest of your year.